Angelica, and I'm just keeping it local, and I'm here with Nancy, and we're at the Flower Bar. So Nancy, thanks for taking the time and talking with us this morning. I wanted to ask you some questions about your Flower Bar.
Sure.
Also, how long have you been in business?
So I actually bought the business. It'll be 8 years in January. Okay. And it's kind of a funny story because I actually grew up in Larchmont. Okay. And I didn't live here. I moved back about 12 years ago, and I was at that stage in my life where I was looking to make a career change. Yeah. I come from the advertising marketing world, and a friend of mine was teaching at the Botanical Garden and suggested I take a look at the programs there. So I ended up doing the floral design certificate program, and as part of that program you had to do an internship. And the people that owned the Flower Bar were neighbors of mine. So I started working here as an intern on Valentine's Day weekend 2010, and we purchased the shop 2 weeks before Valentine's Day 2011.
Oh my, and were you ready?
No.
That's a bold move.
I feel a little sorry for some of our clients on Valentine's Day because we made a few mistakes.
Okay,
but
you learn.
But it's been a process. I mean, there's a lot of things that can go wrong, which I don't think people are aware of. It's everything from the weather, where the flowers are being grown, to how they're being processed, you know, in Ecuador or California or Israel or South Africa or wherever, and then getting them to where they're going to go. They go through customs, or if they're coming by California, and then for customs like in Miami, they're usually trucked up here, and you know, are they sitting too long on the tarmac? So that they're getting too warm, because we need to control the temperature the whole time. Wow. And then they need to, you know, get on a truck and get up here, and again, they need to be in a refrigerated truck so that they don't get too warm. Right. And then they have to get to me, and they have to get to me when I need them, and the right flowers have to get to me, and they have to be in perfect condition, and then we have to process them and make sure that they, you know, have the nutrition that they need so they can, you know, come out of hibernation.
Wow.
So it's all of these.
That process.
Yeah, and then it's like a week.
Okay, so the transportation is about a week.
It's about a week, yeah. It depends on what it is, but and then of course, then we, unlike most shops, local shops, we basically are a manufacturing facility because we create everything here. So then again, then we have the issue of, you know, is it being created properly? There's, you know, you want to make sure that the mechanics are correct, that the flowers are being handled correctly, that, you know, we're doing what the client is expecting us to do, that, you know, all of that. So there are just all of these steps where things can go wrong, and some of them are under my control and some of them aren't. So I began to learn that process really that first Valentine's Day weekend, and really have over the years kind of refined that process so that we can minimize those kinds of, you know, problems. And you know, be aware of them before they become an even bigger problem. You know, like let's say, you know, the weather's bad in, you know, I usually use a flower called stock. I use that a lot. A couple of years ago, because of the drought in California, I couldn't get stock unless I got it from South America, and that's not as good, and it was a lot more expensive. So I just didn't use stock for a few years because the weather didn't allow me to have stock. So you can plan for those kinds of things. Right. Yeah.
And can you actually plan for it, or it's kind of like, oh,
well, that's what happens. That's what well, you try to get, you know, like let's say if I go to order it, I mean, I'm expecting my wholesalers to keep me informed about what's going on. Right. So, for example, there was this particular protea that I really liked. There are a lot of different kinds of protea. It's a tropical flower. They're typically grown in South Africa, and I found this one and I just loved it, and it's really pretty for this time of year because it has kind of a grayish silvery tone to it.
I'm sure it's a big hit nowadays.
It's beautiful. Yeah, I can't keep it in the store, so I told my wholesaler, I said, I want this. I want it every week. I want this much of it, blah, blah, blah. And he says, I can't get it for you because there's some problem with the weather, blah, blah, blah. I just can't, it's just not on the marketplace. So he called me yesterday and he said, guess what? I found 7 bunches for next week. And I'm like,
just
well,
for you.
Just for me. I said, I want them all.
And you just took them.
Yes.
Nice, good.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fun.
Yeah.
So it's fun. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful shop.
Thank you.
And so this is obviously a very busy time, but you are busy all year round. I mean, do you feel like people are keeping it local? People are like supporting the store?
Well, I think that we've really built a really nice business. When I bought the business, you know, we were still coming out of that 2008 recession. Yeah. And, you know, so fortunately, thanks to the support of the community, I've tripled the size of the business since we purchased it,
Good.
and I'm still, I've got a lot of plans to keep growing. We've been primarily retail, and people are shocked, people in the industry are shocked at how much walk-in business we have, which I really love because it really keeps us connected with our customers.
Right, absolutely.
And so we also, finally last year launched a really, a good website that made it easy to buy online.
Okay.
Before it wasn't so easy. You could buy online, but it wasn't so easy.
And what's the website?
It's www.the-flower-bar.com.
Okay.
And so that's been really good.
Good.
And so now what we're really trying to do is really focus on building our event business. And so that's been going really well too.
Good.
So,
So weddings,
events. So the timing really is, there's certain slow periods that, you can't really, like January is dead.
Quiet.
Very dead.
Right.
And so you're getting ready for Valentine's Day.
Exactly.
But it's a slow time and kind of recovering from the busy
season.
fall.
You kind of need that a little bit. You
right,
breathe a little bit.
exactly.
It's actually kind of nice. Rejuvenate, and you come back,
Right.
and you have Valentine's.
And then in June is when, well, you have graduations and stuff, but literally the senior prom at Mamaroneck High School is kind of like our last big thing. And then again, it's like it drops off like a cliff.
Okay.
And so then it's pretty slow for the summer, so you try to get a lot of weddings and things.
You take vacations?
I actually do.
Good.
My husband's retired.
Good.
And so he gets upset that we're going to go to Costa Rica in January.
Oh,
so
fun.
yeah.
That's a good place to go.
Yeah, and we like to sail.
Nice.
So we
good.
usually try to do a sailing trip in the summer.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask you another question about the timing. Nice. Go ahead.
So so the other thing I've been fortunate with is when I started working here and then purchasing it, we had a very skeletal staff. And I think like someone showed up one day and I was like, great, you're hired. And she was very good actually and was here for years.
That's fortunate.
But I didn't really have a process. I didn't really know what I needed or what I wanted. And so over time I've really built a great team.
Nice.
And so we're at that point where I can basically say, I'm trying to move away from being involved with the day-to-day of the shop so that I can get out there and work on the events and work on the corporate accounts. We also have a product that we're really pushing this year, especially for the holiday season, which is a subscription program. It's very popular. We have a couple of different, you can have it kind of any way you want. It's like McDonald's, any way you want, or Burger King, I guess it was. We have something called the Random Bouquet, and it comes on a random day of the month.
Oh.
So your loved one is surprised.
That's beautiful.
And some husbands don't tell their wives that this is a program that they're enrolled in, so they just think that they're just being really sweet and thoughtful.
That's a great idea if you're out there listening.
So that's a great gift for the holiday.
And how much does that run?
It starts at $40, so you'll get a beautiful bouquet to put in your own vase. And then we have people that go up to $100. I mean, it really depends on what you want.
Right.
We have some people that will want something arranged in a vase, and that's fine. And usually something like that we would need like $45 and up. But again, we have people that go as much as $200. So
Right.
it just
you can
depends
go up
on
from
what
there.
you can go up from there. You can really we work with your budget. I mean, we really love it. We want to share. We love flowers.
Yeah, of course.
And we want to share it. With everybody. The other thing that we do is every Thursday, all of our cut flowers are half price in the store. So, which is another reason, I want...
Well, it's also walk-in business. It's good.
It's walk-in business. It's also, we're small enough that it really, for me, it's more important for me to move the product because, I get most of my flowers in on Mondays and Wednesdays.
Okay.
And then, they're still very fresh and beautiful. They're going to last through the weekend. And you can get a beautiful bouquet. Put it together yourself. We'll help you, and for the weekend. And then I get, as needed, I get more fresh flowers on Friday. So it really works out well. I mean, that's why I didn't do it on Friday because I need time to get flowers for the weekend.
Exactly, and for your own arrangements that you need to put together.
Exactly.
And if it comes in locally, like how local is it?
Well, local is really more in the, in the spring, summer, fall.
Okay.
So it would be like New Jersey, Long Island, Pennsylvania. Those are really the local things. I used to have somebody that grew his own dahlias, and I would buy dahlias from his garden.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
And sometimes, and I had somebody that would sell me her lilacs every, and they were fabulous for Mother's Day. And I think she lived in Mamaroneck, and she would just cut her lilacs.
And is there a trick when you like actually have a garden and you want to cut your own flowers? Is there like a trick to make them last?
Yes.
What's
yes. So the trick is the flowers in your garden are not bred to be cut. So you have to do certain things to help them, to really help them hydrate, especially the hydrangeas. So what I would recommend, like when you cut a hydrangea to, for example, I would actually soak it in water for 2 hours. And then
warm water, cold water?
I would do it in cold water.
Okay.
And like you could just put it in your sink, or if the stems are really long, put it, I mean, I hate to say it, in your bathtub. You know, but give them a good soak. You could even put them upside down. It's the heads that really need the water, because hydrangeas take in water everywhere.
Interesting.
And most flowers,
think it's the stem.
Well, it is the stem, but it's also the head, and they're so water hungry that they really need to be a good soak.
Okay.
And we actually, you know, we don't soak them here because they're bred for but we do a lot to make sure that they stay hydrated, because that's the key thing with hydrangea.
You miss them?
We miss them, exactly. But they come in, we also fill up the container as high as possible with water, because again, it's taking it through the stem. And then the other thing that we do is, like, let's say for you, if you had hydrangeas at home, even if you purchase them from my shop and you see them starting to go soft, just pull it out, put them in a cold water, a tall glass, cut the stem, and then mist the top, or put it down, you know, wet the top, and then put it in your refrigerator.
Okay.
And then in a few hours it will come right back.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, so you can,
nice.
you know, and hydrangeas are tricky. So, you know, we guarantee our flowers, but obviously we don't get a lot of complaints about the hydrangeas, but that's the one flower we get complaints about.
Right. Like, they need water.
And we'll replace them. The other thing that's really important is just putting water in your vase every day, because they drink.
They do.
They drink.
And you change it? You change the water, or you just add water to it?
I don't bother changing it. I mean, people, you know, that's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
At home, in my home, I just make sure I top it up with water, and I'll have things that last for a couple weeks.
Okay, that's also really good to know. And do you rent your space out for events?
Well, we have had, I do parties. We had a party the other day. We had Stella and Dot was here,
nice.
and then I did floral design demos.
Oh, great.
And I've had people rent the space to do like birthday parties, and I brought in a caterer, and then I would do a flower design class where they made their own arrangements, and I showed them how to do it. Classes are something that a lot of people are asking for, and I'm planning to do them. I just have to get my staff up to speed so that I can then have the time to do it, because, you know, it does take time.
It does take time. We only have so much of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, it is a really beautiful space.
Thank
It's
you.
a great shop. And I appreciate your time.
Well,
and thank you. Anything else you want to say? I mean, the phone number in case people want to order as well is...
Sure, it's 914-834-4900.
Okay.
Our email is orders@the-flower-bar.com.
Okay.
Unfortunately, some guy in Seattle has the
flowers.
name.
Yeah, the flower bar. How did you come up with the name, actually?
I actually didn't come up with it.
It was
The previous owners, but there's been a flower shop here since 1971, and it was called the Flower Barn.
Okay.
So there's still people that call us Flower Barn.
All right.
But, you know.
Let them.
Yeah, exactly. I think they might have done the flowers for my first wedding. I don't know. I don't remember.
So you actually grew up here. Did you go to what elementary school?
I went to Murray Avenue.
Okay.
And then I was in the first class of the Hummocks.
Oh.
Yeah, when it was brand new.
Wow.
Yeah. And then that was when it started at 7th grade. Not.
Yes, it's been like that for a long time, because my husband grew up here as well, and when he went to middle school, it was still 7th and 8th.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And in Mamaroneck High School.
Okay. Yes, well, keeping it local with somebody who is local. Thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome.
And it was so nice, and happy holidays.
Thank you. You too.
And thank you, and much luck. All the
you.
best.